Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a question that I think just about every educator is facing. How do you help students process all those scary headlines they're constantly seeing on their screens? Well, stick around because we are breaking down a really practical guide for having these essential conversations in the classroom.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the chaotic information landscape that our students are trying to navigate. Then we'll unpack this really powerful four-part framework, starting with creating a safe space for those difficult feelings, then turning students into digital detectives, letting their own curiosity lead the way, and finally, focusing on the ultimate goal, which is raising empathetic global citizens. So, let's be real. This isn't some hypothetical question. It is the daily reality for teachers everywhere. Students are walking into our classrooms with these alarming visuals and a whole lot of anxiety, all from their social media feeds. So the question isn't if they're going to bring it up, but how we can best respond when they do. Yeah, we're not just dealing with news anymore. We're dealing with what's being called an infodemic. Students are facing this relentless, non-stop stream of content about global conflict, and it's totally unfiltered, it's emotionally charged, and it's leading to some very real feelings of confusion and anxiety.
So here's the crucial point. Educators are now, kind of by default, on the front lines of combating this world weariness. The classroom, more than ever, has to become a sanctuary. A grounded space where students can just pause, process what they're seeing, and develop empathy in the face of all that digital noise.
So, before we even touch the facts or the data or the maps, the absolute number one first step is to build an emotionally safe foundation. Because without that, no real learning can actually happen.
This three-step approach is so simple, but it's incredibly effective. It all starts with listening, not lecturing. That's what lets you understand their actual fears and misconceptions. Then you validate their feelings, telling them, hey, it's okay to be scared or confused. And for the younger kids especially, shifting the focus to the helpers provides this really vital sense of security and agency.
Creating a safe space is also about fostering a really deep sense of inclusivity. Some of your students might have direct family or cultural ties to regions that are in conflict. It's absolutely vital to build an environment of mutual respect, where no student ever feels pressured to speak for or defend an entire group of people.
Okay, let's move on to the toolkit. Let's see how this builds what is arguably the most vital skill we can offer in the 21st century, media literacy. This is all about turning students from these passive consumers into active, critical thinkers.
In other words, it's just teaching students to ask questions about everything they see online. Who made this? Why did they make it? Who did they make it for? And maybe most importantly, what information might be missing here? It's basically the superpower they need to navigate their digital world.
And this really highlights a fundamental difference in their whole purpose, right? Verified news sources, they have editorial standards that are built for accuracy. Social media algorithms, on the other hand, they're built for engagement. That crucial distinction means that the most emotionally charged and often unverified content is actually designed to spread the fastest. So we can arm our students with a simple detective's checklist. Asking questions like, is this a real news source? Does that picture actually show what the caption says it shows? And maybe the most important one, have I seen this reported anywhere else by a source I trust? This empowers them to push back against all that disinformation.
Okay, so we've got our safe space and we've got the tools. Now we can make this really powerful shift in our teaching method, moving away from being the sage on the stage and becoming more of the guide on the side.
Here's the key takeaway. For these complex and emotionally charged topics, a lecture just isn't going to cut it. By letting students' genuine questions drive the whole process, you're meeting them exactly where they are and empowering them to take ownership of their own learning. It's a total game changer. For younger learners, this can be as simple as something called a wonder wall. It can be a physical or a digital space where students can post their questions, even anonymously. It turns this whole sea of confusing thoughts into a really focused, collaborative investigation, all using age-appropriate resources.
And for older students, you can guide them toward deeper research into things like economic impacts or international diplomacy. This is the perfect time to teach a skill called lateral reading. So instead of just reading one source from top to bottom, they open up multiple tabs to cross-reference and verify information as they go. It helps them build a much more complete picture for themselves.
So why does all of this matter? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. This isn't just about getting through the next difficult news cycle. It's really about the kind of adults we are helping to shape for the future. This right here, this is the ultimate payoff.
The goal isn't to give students some neat little package of approved answers. No way. It's to give them the skills and the confidence to find their own answers, to handle complexity without shutting down, and to really care about the world beyond their own front door.
And by embedding this whole approach into our teaching, we build a classroom culture that's just, well, it's resilient. It becomes this reliable space for critical thinking and for human support, equipping students with the foundation that is going to serve them for the rest of their lives.
And we'll leave you with this final thought. Maybe the most powerful thing an educator can do in these moments is to just say, you know what? That's a great question, and I don't know the full answer, but let's find out together. Modeling that it's okay not to know, but that it's essential to know how to learn, that might just be the most lasting lesson of all.